friends, we have concluded our demo together, and there are a few things that you may have noticed. Firstly, I'm in a room by myself. It was a total mock demo. There was nobody here with me. But as far as invitations, cueings, mistakes I may have made, I'm curious to see what you noticed. Use this time to drop in the comments things that you've noticed. One of the things that you may have noticed is that there was a flub in there where I said the word position, which was brought up in our earlier sections as a word that could be triggering. My reminder to you is that we won't do these sessions perfectly. We're going to sometimes say the wrong thing, whether or not it's picked up by the class as a trigger or something that they even notice or don't notice remains to be seen. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is to create a safe space where our parasympathetic nervous system can heal and we can practice turning it on, and to be in our own integrity, safe enough that when inevitably, if a trigger comes up or if there was something that needs to be addressed, our participants feel safe approaching us. Another thing that you may have noticed is that I am wearing clothing that's a little bit different than you've seen me recorded in. I have full-length pants, I have a top that covers my shoulders, and it is of a looser fit. I actually have a secondary layer underneath that's tucked into my pant bottoms as a way of, if this were a full-blown practice, we might lift into a shape like downward dog. I prefer to use more modest clothing, knowing that sexuality or parts of the body can be triggering. If this is something that you connect with and you understand that, beautiful. Sometimes there's a discussion around being who we are, and that's very lovely. But in our trauma-informed space, we do make special accommodations. Another thing that we may be discussing in our comments together is finding the balance between allowing or promoting triggers to come up to be addressed or veering away from them. And there are arguments to be made on both sides of the fence. If a trigger comes up, I get the opportunity to address it. If a trigger doesn't come up, I get to practice being in my safety. The triggers are going to come up regardless. It's very likely that if you are guiding some kind of movement and there has been a sexually based trauma that you're creating your class for, being in the body is very likely already a very triggering experience. Moving the body, having to feel into sensations very likely is already quite a challenge and going to put us into a more agitated state, and that's okay. We do want to have practices. We know that one of the elements of trauma, one of the things that we begin to do as people that have gone through traumas is that we will often avoid situations that might be triggering for us as a way of trying to self-regulate, trying to create a space for us that's devoid of the features of our trauma. And that's very noble. And we do make a strong case for that, since that is our goal. But the goal in the long term is to practice these tools so that we don't need to avoid life. We practice these tools so that we can find an experience of ourselves, so that we can bring in our inner sage, our inner protector, practice discernment, and not have to avoid things that could really bring us a lot of enjoyment or yield a lot of excitement or joy to our lives. We want to have that full breadth of the human experience. So, with that, take a few moments to comment about things that you noticed about our practice, things that you liked, things that were challenging, things you didn't like, or simply things that you saw in your notes or heard about in the video that you saw in practice, or maybe things that you didn't see in the notes that were part of our practice. I'm so curious. Come and be involved in our community, and well done, my friends. Let's continue the conversation, and until next time.